Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode from Home Theater Savants. My name's Ryan, and today we're expanding on the idea that we talked about on Friday that we need data, and we need it now. Data is important. Objectivity is important. Why is it important? Well, we can't make decisions without it. So we need data. We need companies to provide us quantifiable data that we can compare from one manufacturer to another. But that's not the whole story, because if you take the data, right, and you go and be like, oh, this meets all my criteria data-wise, and you put that in your room, you may hate it. So it's really important that you look at the data, find what works, find what makes sense, then you listen to it. You experience it and see what you actually like. It's like buying a car. I have a certain amount of criteria that I need when I'm going to buy a car. How many seats does it have? What's its cargo capacity? What's its, horsepower? What's its... Not that it really matters, but top speed, what color is it? All that kind of stuff. I filter down all of those things that I need until I get a select amount of vehicles that actually fit those criteria. Then I go test drive them because I don't know what I actually want, because everything's a little bit different, even though it all meets those criteria, until I find one that actually I buy and becomes mine. So same thing for speakers. You got to go through, find the criteria that you want, what measures, how it works, how it's going to interact in the room, and then you listen to it. Because it could be the most objectively perfect speaker in the world, and you may hate it. So it's really important, and it may be a little bit of a compromise, deviating a little bit from the objective perfection, but if you don't like it, what's the point? So find the data set that works for you in the room and then listen to it. And if both of those things line up, you like it subjectively, you like it objectively, then it makes sense. So objective, subjective together, use your ears. You're going to be happier at the end of the day for it. Now, before we wrap up, there was a gentleman that asked a question in the comments. And he asked, well, you've made these suggestions about objective comparisons and figuring out what works based on objective data, but what brands actually bring that to the table? Like if I go into a big box store, what brand should I buy that lives by that? Well, unfortunately, there's not really a brand that is sold in a big box store that lives by that, right? That is putting their measurements and things on their sleeve in a quantifiable way. Now, in the pamphlet that they will hand out, it's got a frequency response. But what is the F3? Where is that falling off? What SPL was that made? Is it measured at 5 dB? I could have a frequency of 2 come out of my phone, like I said last time, at, 1 SPL. But that does me no good because I won't be able to hear it. So they could say anything, but if they don't provide any quantifiers, then it doesn't really matter. So a lot of companies will say, well, we do provide data. Well, you don't provide it in a quantifiable way, unfortunately. So it's really important that you look at this. And in this case, since no big company sells at a big box store offers this, use third-party reviewers. Aaron's Audio Corner, Audio Science Review, Audioholics, just to name a few. The guys that are providing quantifiable measurements that you can compare from manufacturer to manufacturer because of how they're being done, use that as a substitute until we can get the manufacturers to actually provide this data, which is the objective at the end of the day. That's what we're left basically with. Now, there are some manufacturers, I won't name names, but there are a couple manufacturers, very few, that do live the life transparently. They provide this data, all of the data, and you're able to make these decisions just based on information from their website. So hats off to those manufacturers. Those manufacturers know who they are, and they know that I know who they are. So hats off to them. Greatly applaud that. Mission here is to get the rest of the industry to do exactly what you guys are doing now. So wrapping this up, objective, subjective. They're both very important. You got to do them together because objective by itself, you may not like it. Subjective by itself, probably not going to work very well in your room. But when you do them both together, you're going to have a good experience. So until next time, guys, I'm Ryan from Home Theater Savants. I hope you guys have a great holiday. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.